What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? It's your boy Goblin, and today we're coming in with Chronicles Part 5. Hope you guys enjoy this video. Drop a like if you do. We're going to skip all the shindiggity, all the shebang, and just get right the fuck into it. So let's dive right into it. Now, in the last episode, Chronicles Part 4, we left off right after I finished selling coke to try to recoup some of my lost money that I've been blowing all summer long. At this point, we're past that stage. We're now discussing the psychedelic plug that I had while I was still doing coke. So there's a guy who we're going to call him Walter. Walter is a guy who I met through Nathan. If you guys remember, in I believe it was episode 2, we mentioned going to Nathan's garage a lot. Nathan put me on with Walter and gave me the plug, right? Gave me a Snapchat, made sure it was cool for me to add him. So I hit him up on Snapchat, and all I knew that he had at this point was Molly, right? That's all I knew that he had, nothing else. I hit him up. I'm like, yo, dude, let me get my hands on some Molly. I just want a gram, right? He's like, all right, for sure. Let me know where you at. I'll come serve, right? He said it's only 70. I'm like, all right, that's a pretty good price around here for a gram of Molly. I know I'm going to get a bunch of people from Europe in the comments saying, wow, you Americans are fucking idiots. Over here in fucking Norway, we get it for a penny a gram, you fucking idiot. Well, you know what? Congratulations. And you're fucking lucky because I don't. But either way, nevertheless, he's like, yeah, dude, just send me your address. I'll pull up. So he pulls up. I grab the first gram off him. And, for the majority of the first week or two of me knowing this plug, me knowing Walter, it was just me grabbing grams, half grams, or having people throw in with me to grab bags. I was never grabbing more than a gram at a time at first, right? Because I didn't know what other stuff he had or the limits that he would go to, right? I didn't want to seem like I was buying a ton at a time. But at the same time, I was buying nearly a gram a day because me and my friends would all just throw in together and each eat a 0.3 every day, right? Throughout the entire day, we'd eat a 0.15, twice a day just to kind of parachute a little bit and enjoy it, right? And we were combining the cocaine binge, Kevin and myself and a couple other friends I'm going to get to later in this episode. We're combining our cocaine binge with a Molly binge. And this is where shit really got dangerous and really got out of pocket because we're now doing coke and Molly lines at a kid who we're going to call, oh man, I know I gave him a name in episode 2. I mentioned him going to Nathan's house, but I don't remember what name I gave him. It wasn't Peter. It was a different guy. We're just going to call him Steven. Steven's a good friend of mine, been around a lot, and he lives in an apartment where his mom's almost never home. So his place is the spot, right? So me and Kevin hit up Steven because Nathan wasn't available at this point, and soon after this episode, we kind of stopped fucking with Nathan anyways, but we'll get to that later on. Nevertheless, we hit up Steven, and me and Kevin are like, yo, dude, we got blowing Molly. Let's link. Steven's like, hell yeah, dude, come through. I got drinks, right? At this point, Steven's the only guy who's 21. Kevin wasn't 21 yet, and I'm not still 21 at this point. So we slide over to Steve's. He's got some beers. I've got some Molly and some Coke, and we start mixing up Molly and Coke lines, right? And let me tell you, snorting Molly is not a pleasurable experience, but mixing it with Coke kind of numbs out the pain of it a little bit. It evens it out a little bit to make it more tolerable. And as much as I discourage doing this and remind you all how dangerous this is, those of you who have done this activity before know that it's lit. It's something, all right. But either way, don't fucking do this at home. We're sitting there railing these Molly and Coke lines and just getting geeked as fuck and rolling. I'm talking not as hard as we would have been if we just ate the Molly, but that wasn't the point. We weren't trying to roll as hard as we could. We were just trying to have the experience of doing these Molly and Coke lines and getting drunk as shit. And drinking off this combo is not smart, guys, especially. Mixing all these drugs together is a terrible idea, but drinking off it is what made it especially risky. So, guys, don't do this shit at home. Don't follow my footsteps. But nevertheless, me, Kevin, and Steven are fucked up for this probably the entire first week. All we did was just go to Steven's house, do Molly and Coke lines and drink, and repeat the process. It got to the point where we were rolling so hard that we decided playing Monopoly was going to be fucking lit. And Steven had the anniversary silver box Monopoly. And for those of you guys who have me on Snapchat, you might have seen me post our Monopoly games a few times over the summer. We were just banging out the fucking Monopoly, dude. Every night I was there for a week straight. We would just do a fuckload of Coke and Molly and get super shit-faced faced and feel really good and play fucking Monopoly until like 4 in the morning every single night. It was so fun, dude. And for some reason, Steven lost first every time, no matter what. It was usually just us three. Sometimes there would be some ladies over, and hey, they'd join us too, because hey, listen, we're some nice gentlemen. We ain't trying to fuck, ladies. We just want to play Monopoly Anniversary Edition. So if y'all shorties are down for that, DM me, because I just want to play Monopoly Anniversary. I'm not trying to fuck. But either way, us being the gentlemen we are, if we have the ladies over, of course we invited them to play some Monopoly Anniversary. So at one point, I think our biggest game was like 5 people, but it was never less than 3. It was almost always me, Kevin, and Steven. And it was a jolly old time. Now, towards the end of this first week or two of us doing this, I decided that I kind of wanted to step it up with the psych plug because this binge was becoming more psychedelic focused, or more Molly focused. I don't want to say psych focused, but more Molly focused than it was coke focused towards the second week of me really being in touch with this Molly plug. So I reach out to him and I'm like, yo, dude, what kind of prices you do, or like what kind of shit do you have besides Molly? Like, let me know what you can do in bulk and like pricing and stuff like that. And he's like, oh, I have acid and I have ketamine, right? And I can get my hands on shrooms. I'm like, oh, ketamine. I haven't done that in a long time, but I like it. And don't do it at home, kids. Ketamine's fucked up. But I like the shit. So I'm talking to him about it, and he's like, yeah, dude, I could probably get it shipped in, and let me see what I can do. Just give me a week or two. And I'm like, bet, bro. If you ever get some K in, let me know. Because at this point, I was just like, yo, I'll do any fucking drug I can touch, right? Same thing with the acid. I asked him about that. He's like, yeah, I can get that in too. Right now, all I got is Molly and a little bit of shrooms. Shrooms I wasn't super interested in. So not literally any drug, but damn near. Shrooms I wasn't super curious about, so I just stuck to the Molly. Now, through me talking to this guy and just having casual conversation, I came to find out that he worked at I'm not trying to give out too much info, but he worked at an electronics shop, right? And he knew a lot about repairing phones and repairing electronics and stuff like that. So as we were talking about what each of us do for a living, I was like, oh, I do, gaming stuff. And he was saying, oh, I do electronics. He's like, yeah, dude, I take trades. Like if you ever want to sell a phone or something like that, just let me know, dude. We could trade. And I'm thinking, I'm like, huh. Okay, for sure. I had this busted iPhone X, right? The screen was cracked, almost completely inoperable, right? So I replaced it with a 7 Plus. I downgraded to save some money, and fuck it, I like the 7 Plus better anyways, I downgraded back to the 7 Plus, but still kept that iPhone X. I just paid it off. It was on the lease, but I just bought it, just paid it off instead of returning it, right? So either way, I had this iPhone. And I hit up another friend of mine who I know who also does phone repair. He doesn't work at like an electronics shop. This guy does a completely different occupation, but he just happens to be really good with fixing phones. So I hit him up and I'm like, yo, dude, how much would it cost me to get the front and back panel of this iPhone X fixed? He gives me OEM prices. He like shows me the part prices and says like, yeah, dude, I'm not going to charge you much over the part prices. I've known you for a while. Just let me know. So I'm like, bet, dude, that's dope. So I'm thinking in my head, and I'm trying to do the math. I'm like, all right, if I can get this iPhone X fixed for, less than the profit I would get off of whatever I'm selling it for or trading it for with Walter, then this would be a good come up, right? Because I figured in the current state of the iPhone, it didn't even work. I couldn't get any more than $200 for it. I was getting it fixed, and the price was very, very reasonable. So I'm thinking like, yo, if I get this thing completely like brand new working condition, fixed and everything, I should be able to get a nice amount of Molly for this fucking phone, right? So, of course, I go get it fixed. Then I hit up my boy Walter, right? The fixing process takes about a week, a little less than that, because he's just doing it out of his house. He doesn't like do it for a living. Then I hit up Walter, and I figured I wouldn't go through Walter to get it fixed, because then he would know it was fixed. Maybe, I could have him not know it got fixed and have him think it was just regular parts, and he'd pay a higher price. I didn't know if that was going to impact the price or not, but I didn't want it to, so whatever. So then I hit up Walter, and I'm like, yo, dude, I got an iPhone X, fucking 128 gigs, I think it was. Don't fucking crucify me if I'm wrong, but I don't know how any of y'all would even know if I am, so fuck you. But nevertheless, either way, an iPhone X 128 gig, I believe it was the black or like the space gray or some shit. It was dark either way. Hit him up. I'm like, yo, dude, how much would you offer me for this? And he's like, what do you want? I was like, preferably all Molly if possible. And we're negotiating a little bit. He lowballs pretty hard at first. He starts off with an 1/8. I'm like, no, buddy. No. We are negotiating, my man. And I know what he pays for this shit. But I also know that this guy, through talking to him, I gather that he has a similar mentality as me when it comes to bartering, right? He started very low, I started very high, and we just kind of got to our settling point. It wasn't exactly what I was hoping to get, but I got over 6 grams, so I was pretty happy with it, right? I was hoping to get a little more, but nevertheless, I was looking on eBay, and the phone that I had was going for in the 700s. I figured if I could save the hassle of shipping it, finding a buyer, waiting a month to get my money from eBay, it would be worth losing $50 to $100, right? Just to get it off my hands quick. Because if I took it to like a pawn shop, they give me like $400. So this could be a potential come up. And it did end up working out in my favor. He bought the phone, handed me the Molly, of course, in the fucking notebook paper. This guy was well known for using notebook paper instead of bags for some reason for his Molly, and only his Molly. But nevertheless, the Molly was great every time, so no one ever really complained. So we make this little trade, and now I'm sitting here with damn near a quad of Molly, and I'm like, oh shit, dude. Like, this is lit. Like, this is awesome. So I hit up all the homies, and I'm like, boys, I'm the plug now. I'm like, boys, hit my fucking line. Shop with me. Until this 6 grams is gone, fuck with me. Then we going back to Walter, but until then, fuck with me. So Steven's hitting me up, Kevin's hitting me up, Nathan's hitting me up, all the homies are hitting me up, buying Molly off me, and everything's going according to plan. And it's all going great, and I don't hit up Walter for a little while because I didn't need to. I was sitting on 6 fucking grams. Now, it took me about a week to get through the 6 grams because all the homies were just buying on little 0.2 doses. No one was buying grams like I was from Walter, right? So it took me about a week to get rid of this shit, right? And I was serving the homies. I wasn't like posting on my story like, hey, hit my line. Like I was literally just, the people I kicked it with every day were the only people buying off me, right? So it took me about a week to get rid of. I hit up Walter again at the end of this week, all the while still going through my Coke plug, still buying off him. I hit up Walter again, and I'm like, yo, man, are you good? Never got back to me, never spoke to me again. I still to this day have never heard from Walter again. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened with my phone. I tried asking Nathan about it, and he said he has no idea, which I don't know if that's true because he's known this guy for a long time. But something went down with Walter. I don't know if he got popped. I don't know what the fuck happened, but he vanished, completely vanished. And normally he always replied. He was really, really good about that. Really good about it. Even if he missed your notification, he'd get back to you later and be like, oh, I missed it, my bad. Like he wouldn't just ignore you. So it was really strange that he just completely fell off the grid, and I had no idea what the fuck happened to him. So after this supply of the 6 grams dried up, we ran out of Molly. We didn't have a K guy. We didn't have an acid guy. But lo and behold, that was not the end of the psychedelic experience through this Coke binge. We got our hands on some shit, of course, through the reliable Blow Man. Of course, he found his way to get his hands on some shit, which we're going to save for the next episode. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Drop a like if you did. Let me know if you guys are ready for Coke Chronicles 6 coming soon. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.